Tracy Radley, Holistic Healer, Life Mentor, coming to you again from Angkor Wat today. I have been guided to speak with you again to share some more of my experiences, not just from Cambodia, but maybe from other times, because I've been told people need to hear it, that there's going to be people that connect with what I have to say, and it will help broaden the awareness for some others. So hopefully you'll get something from it. It's not any structure, it's literally whatever flows, which is generally how I work. I just trust whatever comes out of my mouth is, helpful to someone. And I apologize if you haven't seen my previous video. I am quite exhausted with shifting through energies and my system, trying to recalibrate itself at the moment, hence the tiredness. But again, this is part of the vulnerability that I've been told to share with people, and not to try to hide behind a mask that, that I'm perfectly aligned and everything's always wonderful, because that's not the experience that I have. So, but in saying that, I have complete understanding with why things happen to me the way they do and why I experience things. So I do my best to take it as a growth experience and expansion and learn from it. So I don't actually put a negative connotation to it, or I do my best not to in most instances. So if you watched my last video, I was saying how the energies here where I've been staying next to the killing fields and different things like that has really impacted my system and growth. So what I hadn't shared with you previously is the last area I was in Cambodia was also quite intense. Even though it was a beach coastal location, which again I didn't go to by conscious choice. I was guided to go there, flew in and didn't really know anything about the place, which is generally what happens with me. I just kind of, when the inspiration and guidance is there, I just take the action that's needed. So it's like book the flight and turn up and see what happens. But prior to actually coming this time, after I booked my flights to Cambodia, literally I had a lot of messages come through, energetic stuff, not like telling me don't go to Cambodia, you're not welcome. So for those that understand, there's every place kind of holds its own energy, and if you go with maybe darker entities or whatever you want to label these type of things, so basically I got a really strong message and a hit on my system saying you're not welcome in Cambodia, we don't want you to come. However, I recognized what that was because my inner guidance was saying I actually need to go because I have work to do there. So to me, I interpreted that as kind of like a pre-warning of what I was actually coming to, energetically wise. So I hadn't really been looking forward to Cambodia in itself because I knew it wasn't going to be a holiday. It's here to do work. Obviously there's people that I meet that I help along the way here, which I absolutely love doing because those moments I'm in complete alignment and everything just flows through and it's beautiful. But on the other side, flip side of that, I'm actually here to grow myself and do clearing and bring light to the area. So apologies for people in the background, as I'm in a touristy place. So I was pre-warned that there was going to be heaviness and things happening before I came here, but trusting that I was going to where I was needed, that was stronger than the fear that was being projected at me. So obviously I came, but the area I arrived in, again not knowing much about it, was very intense in a complete different way to staying currently near the killing fields here in Siem Reap. There it was a lot of sex trade stuff, a lot of drugs, alcohol, smoking of everything. I felt a lot of sadness, heaviness, and people just covering their issues. And as I'd previously, before my arrival, spent a month in Malaysia with my twin flame, so those kind of people that are aware of it know the intensity of those experiences and the growth that comes through it. By the time I arrived, I was a bit vulnerable anyway and a bit tired, so I actually felt the impact of the area, I guess more so, because I wasn't in my full strength. So it took me maybe 8 days to clear through that. I noticed that I was taking on other people's actions and processes for dealing with their stuff. So I would stand and look at the shops that had all the alcohol, and like, I don't really drink, so I knew it wasn't mine, but I was just finding myself looking at these things every day. Cigarettes, I don't smoke, and this type of stuff. And you know, there would be buildings I struggled to walk past because the density was so strong, but then again, I still had to be in that area. But it did impact me. At that point, my emotions were impacted. My physical body, like, I was just tired. So at that point, I was filtering some of my own stuff, because that was setting off triggers for deeper things with me, and things like rejection, which I didn't know that I still had so much of. But you know, I was confronted with feelings of rejection, isolation, loneliness. Hold on, I'm just going to pause this. Okay, apologies for the little break there and change of scenery. Somebody started a generator behind me. It was quite loud, so I've just moved away a little bit more into nature and away from the crowds and the buildings. But as I was saying, like, in the last part that I was sitting in and was staying in Cambodia, I was taking on the energies around me, but it was bringing up the deeper levels of my stuff as well. So it was quite exhausting on my system. So while I'm clearing the area and others, I was clearing myself as well, because I'd allowed myself to get into a bit of a tired state, like I said, before I arrived. There was moments there, and like, I was really tapping into my twin, who'd also returned to his home country the same day I flew to Cambodia. So he's in Europe, and you know, I was feeling his stuff as well, and like, it was quite interesting for me to actually recognize this, like the cravings that I was having, literally being consciously aware, going, these aren't actually mine. I know these aren't mine. So, you know, it was nice to have that awareness. And, you know, I actually had to be really strong to not allow myself to go into them. So, but move through them. But I did call on some help in that area eventually to help me move it through. Sorry, there's a lot of mosquitoes in this area I've just moved to. So like, this Cambodia experience has been challenging, obviously, for my physical body, with at times my emotions, because it's triggered some of my own stuff from being around other people and obviously the environment itself. But I know I'm here for a bigger reason, and like I said, it's to bring the light in. And you know, if I wasn't strong enough to do it, I wouldn't be here. So I kind of trust in that I am where I need to be, and I'm not going to be giving anything that I'm not able to handle. If I do need support, that it's going to turn up when I need it. So this I have full trust in, which is why I follow the path that I do. And also, there's no turning back to the mainstream life I had, like 2009 and prior to that. So in saying that, you know, it's been quite a heavy and challenging experience on one level. There's actually been like wonderful moments here as well, when I have been in alignment and clarity. And even through all this time with the mixed stuff going on, I've been aware of what's happening. So it makes it so much easier that I'm not going crazy with it all and not understanding. I actually see what's happening, and the growth is to take place from it. So that's fine, and I'm at peace with all of that. It's no problem. But I have met a couple of nice people along the way, which has, you know, been really beneficial for me. I've been doing like mentoring and coaching stuff with people along the way, and you know, I just shine, and I absolutely love that, because I feel my true self. I feel completely authentic when I'm there to guide people, because I can see things from a higher perspective. Even when I've got all this other stuff processing, it doesn't actually impact my ability to help others in that way. So and again, that helps me bring even more light into myself and shift this other stuff quicker. And I can tell now from my video that I did maybe an hour ago, which may or may not have posted by the time you see this one, I can actually feel my energy has lifted again, and I'm regaining my strength again. So as I said in my last video, I know by tomorrow I'll be fine. But to share this with you at this moment, because people need to hear it and need to see it. And for those that are visual and can actually see energetically, they will actually see the what's actually going on with me, where things are moving, where it's mine, where it's other people's, where it's the environment that I'm in. And that's perfectly fine, because, you know, people need to see it and experience it. Anyway, I'm just being vulnerable enough and honest enough to share as I'm going through it. Again, as I've been told to do. And for those who saw my like really first videos on YouTube or Facebook, you'll know how shy I was and how scared I was to speak on camera. And well, now I'm just embracing it. So it's been part of my growth process as well, is to be seen and, you know, get over myself and the fears of judgment. And, like, you know, I have here no makeup, I've been crying, my energetic system's all over the place, and I'm speaking from my heart. So, you know, I just believe that the right people will see this and they'll respect that, and that's it, let it go. So if you're in that kind of situation, follow my lead and just do it, because if you put that alignment out there, you'll find the right alignment for those people that need to see you and connect with you. What else do I need to share? Okay, so since 2010, or the start of 2010, when I like really left my mainstream world from Australia, then with my home insecurities and income and all that type of stuff, and started this more expansive journey where I've spent most of my time in Asia, so mostly Nepal and India and Malaysia. And all these places, you know, I've been having my own growth and expansion because I've been out of my comfort zone and letting go of, like I said, securities, all the things I'd built up in Australia as my, you know, foundation, you know, and watching them all shatter and come crumbling down over the, you know, last few years, and just knowing that it's going to be worth it at the other end, because I've become a more authentic person and, you know, embrace all that I am, which if I'd stayed in that lifestyle I had before, was too limiting. And the reason I actually left initially was because my heart told me it was time to go, and I just trusted it. But it hasn't been easy, it's been really scary. I've had to deal with a lot of ego stuff, a lot of past stuff, like obviously it's a lot of clearing. The areas I've gone to, again, like Cambodia, are quite intense, so while I'm doing my own growth aspects, I'm also, you know, bringing light to those areas, which adds to that. So most of these last few years has really just been going where I've been told to go by my guidance, because I trust it, and I only do it when I'm in alignment. So if I get woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning and that's the message that says you need to book, you need to go here, and you need to book it now, I don't question it anymore. I just do it and then deal with it, deal with what happens when I arrive at whatever time that is. So a lot of this last, say, 12 months has actually been learning to integrate, I guess, back into how to bring this to you in a grounded way, an authentic way, that makes sense. So as much as I can do the energetic healing work through the light language and channeling, drawing, speaking, singing, and the Reiki energy stuff, and having knowings about things, I can also, you know, I've grown so much stronger in how to implement these things in daily life, like how to live with more awareness, how to live consciously, you know, remembering everything's impermanent, and having the compassion and judgment, and remembering self-love, and, you know, actually having the practical tools to help you ride the waves in life, because this is actually what I've been learning to do. So it's not just speaking from textbooks. I've actually tried and tested, and this is what I do, and I know it's self-mastery every day. So, you know, for the most part, I'm aligned, even though, as you can see, like my energies are, you know, scattered at the moment. I'm still aware. I know what's going on. My mind is fine and clear, and I'm not emotional to the state of, you know, I'm hating my life and why is this happening to me. Because I accept, I know why I'm here and what I'm doing, and it's fine. And, you know, I'll continue to grow as you will. But I found a way to find peace in what I'm going through. Even though it does get tough at times, I see the bigger picture and what that all means. And, you know, I wouldn't actually have it any other way, because with this contrast, obviously it pushes me further and further and further to be more authentic. And the more authentic I am, And the more limitations I break through, the more that I can share with you to help you on your journey as well. So something I've been told to share is some of my experience since I was a kid, and obviously being super sensitive and being aware of things going on around me that other people weren't, but not really sure how to express it because I didn't know how to. Nobody got it. Like, I love my family, I absolutely do, but even today they still don't understand how I function in the world, because it's so different to them. I tried to do the mainstream, I tried to follow their way, and I did for many years, but it just wasn't me. So you know, I've accepted they have their level of awareness and I have mine, and that's as it is. Everyone's where they're at, and wherever that is completely perfect. So, you know, there's no judgment on that side. But a lot of the time it's like standing on the outside looking in, you know, you can be around a lot of people but you're not actually part of it. Or so even here at Angkor Wat, I'm watching families and couples and individuals traveling, having fun, happy snaps, and taking in this environment as a holiday. And obviously I don't want to generalize for everyone, because I'm sure there's other people here that have having experiences maybe similar to me, but it's very much for me, I'm literally sitting away looking from the outside looking in, and it's almost like it's two parallels, two different worlds that I'm experiencing, being here one way and they've got it a completely different way. So sometimes it gets you know, a little frustrating, but obviously I get why. But at times, as other people will connect with, you know, you want to run back from that spiritual path, from waking up, and just go back to everything seemingly easy and fun and more lighthearted, even though, you know, you have the stresses of the material world. It was very different to when you step into actually awakening. So, you know, I'm happy in my own company most of the time, because I have my own company most of the time. So I've learned to embrace that. And but in saying that, there's moments that, you know, it's nice to have company around the like-minded people. So I have been blessed. There is one person I met when I first arrived in the Siem Reap area. So when I left the last area of Cambodia, I just started to have fun there. I was back in alignment. I was enjoying actually having time at the beach and swimming, and I was told that once I got to Siem Reap, I would actually meet someone, and I was like, okay, and let it be. So within the first, I don't know, few hours, I actually did. I met someone that I could actually have a conversation with, with depth and meaning, which, you know, is so beneficial and healing for me as well. When you do spend a lot of time on your own, you really appreciate these moments when you find people you connect with. And I know there's a lot of you out there that will connect and understand what I'm saying with that as well. So I'll actually share what happened with this person. It's kind of quite amazing. I'm staying out of the town area, away from the busyness, because, you know, I don't like to be around the intense environments. Plus I was put next to the killing fields, which is out of town, out of the main town area where the pubs and shopping, which just doesn't interest me. Except I'm not a tourist, and I'm not here to party and have fun. So I'm just here to grow and do my higher path, but find my alignment and have, you know, my joyous experiences, which I am now in the process of sitting in nature, and my energy's coming back. But as I was walking along this street, it was getting dark and not many people around, and I could see there was one gentleman walking my way, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. But as he got right up to me, I just looked in his eyes and I went, oh, I know you. Like, straight away, it was an instant recognition. But he kept walking, and I walked for a little bit, and my brain's kind of going, I know him, I know him. And I stopped and turned around. And as I turned around and looked, he was 50 meters back the other way, and he did exactly the same thing, turned around. Like, he stopped himself and turned around, but then we kept going our opposite directions. And I'm talking to myself, or my higher self, going, I reckon I'm going to see him again, and when I do, I'm going to have a conversation. It's like, oh, I wonder where he's staying, and, you know, I wonder where I'll bump into him. Anyway, I didn't think much more about it, just had a bit of a giggle to myself and kept going. But the word Swami came into my head. And then within maybe an hour, I was at a small little local shop just to buy like a lighter for some incense for my room, because my room obviously being heavy next to the killing fields, I just wanted to add something to it to help lighten it a bit. And in this small little random shop, this guy turned up and we just started talking for 15 minutes. And after that, I actually introduced myself, and then I asked him where he was staying. He was staying at the same place as me, and I'm like, okay, so what room are you in? He was right next door to me. So, you know, straight away I knew the guidance that I had before I left the last area that said I would be meeting somebody. This was him. There was no hesitation in it. So we both acknowledged, like, we knew each other. We couldn't remember exactly when and where, but it made no difference. We just went, okay, we can speak freely, and we're both needing this right now. So each night since I've been in this area, so it's been 4 nights, we've actually had conversations at nighttime. So it's actually been really nice. And I've been able to share, you know, my journey and some of my wisdom with him to help him on his path while he's making transitions. And in all honesty, it's been so nice to have this person, you know, around just to cross paths with and have the conversation, because it helps me to stay in alignment. As I mentioned before, you know, I can speak like really freely. And so I'm feeling really blessed that he's there, even though I've moved locations today. I think if he wasn't there, where I was staying next to the fields, it would have been a lot harder. But he was kind of like an outlet for me so while I'm talking to him and being in alignment, it was keeping my energy stronger. So I'm very grateful, and I'm glad I had that guidance that I would meet someone while I was there. And, you know, he'll end up going on his path and I keep going on mine, and that's just how it is. You know, there's no attachments, there's no nothing. It's just, you know, somewhere along the line we'd agreed from a higher level to cross paths at this point and support each other in different ways. And so for me, just being able to talk and be myself was the biggest blessing from this. And obviously he's been able to have that reciprocated, because, you know, he's had the ability to talk, and I've been able to share some things with him that is helping him grow, as he's told me. You know, it's helping his experience as well, and him making some decisions of where he goes from here. So there are some really wonderful things that are taking place here as well. And again, as I'm talking more, I can feel myself coming more and more into balance again. So I'm super grateful. And I had a feeling when I would come to this area and got away from all the thousands of people that I would start becoming myself again. So there's also the part with where I was staying here. For example, the place next to the killing fields was very much heavy itself. Nothing like it showed on the internet. Obviously, it didn't say it was right next to the killing fields, and I didn't realize it straight away either. But the feel of it itself, it was damp, it was heavy. Like I said, if the true pictures were on the internet, I wouldn't have stayed. But once I was there, I was actually guided that I needed to stay there anyway. So today I'm feeling blessed that I came across a place that was the perfect place for me to lift myself. So I feel like the next 5 days here are going to be a lighter, brighter, and more of hopefully a holiday feel, and relaxed and energized. In my beautiful purple room, and it's really, really lovely. So I'm actually looking forward to that. And I'm actually quite hot here, sitting here now. So again, I'm just kind of talking randomly just to share some of my experiences. So I'm hoping that you get something from it. Now that I'm coming back into alignment, I am actually feeling a light language channeling coming through, which is a little bit surprising. But anyway, I'll just go with it. So for those that are open to the light language stuff, if you just want to close your eyes, I'm just going to bring this one through quickly because I'm getting told to. So hold on a minute. Silarata de cases and Sasagarata, the Garashan Chinchi, the Garet and the Garasasala, and the Garasas, Elakarashan Shamaka, Canton the Garet, the Garasas and Balakaras, and Lashan Chakare, the Garesasaka, Kankarakaras and Bashasha Cadet and Karasala Kashan Chache, the Darasa Salaka, Solokodo, Totokoro, Sosumbara, Shashan Charakarasanta, Tanamakarasas and the Garesas and Bashan Chintigaresalaka, who La Sansasakare, Shashan Shantarakarasamba, Pantarakaras and Mashin, Tadakarasamba, Pado to Gorosus. Bashan Cheshakaresis and Tatakarasas and Baka, Cantatakarasas and Sala Karata Takarasas and Bashan, Decaresis and Akashanta, Ma Susukurusus and Ba, ba do guru sasamba shanta rakare sesenaka kala sansa satake eshinto do guru sansa sanakare shenaka masu susukulu karansa sakarashata ta to guru sasamba shente de kare sesamba kashete chanta de kara sasamba shente de kare sesalaka santa Sanamakuru susamba shenche shete de kresa samba shanta de krese la sususuma karashashe shen la karasa samba de shen tada karasa samba shanta de krese selaka sansara karasa samba shen de krese samasha shancha de krese sambede shen de krese samba shenche shen de krese samba de sheshe hula sasa sare ananayale shalalala danda ebu Shalalaya nai kulululaya malululaya hanaya nei kalulaya naniya nei kalakara tidigiri sesimbashin chichirigiri nakarasa Masasa susukuru tutukuru sasambashe shan shandakara dadakara sasanakare sasandare karasan sasaya shanta tulaka dadakara sasambashen degresa sulala karashente degresa samba sansasakara degresa samashe elaka sasla amasasa lakere nakarashanta tantara karese silakashanta tantara karese sinakashanta degresa samasha alakuru susambala sheshana karasasa sansara karasa simishanaka Ulala karasa senaka sansasa samaka sansala kere sheshambaka kulamaka sansasala kere sheshamakare sesalaka kundara karasa samashanaka sasasa samaka shanta tana makuru sasamashana karasa samashana karasa samakare sesalaka sansamakara sesamaka shantara kare sesamaka salamaka sasamashana kare sesamakara shanaka shalakuru rudukura sambare sesamaka shalamaka sasamaka shanaki sasandakayatana karasa kalasha Maskororo, Dodogoro, Sansambaka, Shanakara, Samakare, Sanakana, Karashakara, Tanamakara, Samakala, Messe, Salamakashanakara, Lamasan, Samakare, Shamakanakaha. Alright, that was a bit unexpected, but again, going with it. So, here's another aspect you can see from this random unplanned video. If you're quite aware, you can actually see the transformation of myself from the start of this video until now. I'm back into my alignment. My energy levels are up. If you watched my previous video, which I did maybe an hour and a half ago, you'll see from that vulnerable state of the emotions of everything clearing to now that I'm cleared. So it can actually happen that quick. So if it can happen that quick for me, it can happen that quick for you. If you're, ready for it. And just randomly, somebody did ask me in a video or in a comment, if you've got blockages in your chakras, for example, and you've tried the meditation, you've tried the stuff on YouTube, you've tried all these different techniques yourself and nothing's working, what to do? So my advice is, it doesn't matter what chakra it is, if you've tried everything that you know how to do, whether it's yoga, it's breathing exercise, it's meditation, it's doing whatever it is you need to do to bring yourself up and bring you happy, because if you're doing the things you love that are good for you, it should bring you back into alignment, bring you into balance, getting out in nature like I have. You've actually seen the transformation here. And my advice is, if you're still stuck and these things aren't shifting, it's always deeper programmings. There's something deeper going on that you're needing help with. So I would advise you, if you've tried all the free stuff and it's not working, you're noticing things are still there, things aren't shifting or not for long enough, I encourage you to actually find help in whatever you're drawn to and whoever you're drawn to. So it could be another healer, it could be a psychologist, it could be, I don't know, anybody, anything. It could be group work, it could be individual, but seek help, because if you've tried everything that you know how to and nothing's shifting, then you need something more that you're not aware of yet. So for me, I do a lot of coaching work and I do it generally as packages, because I like to be able to give people the opportunity to get a new foundation, a new perspective and awareness of how they can live their life again, the conscious living, and give you the tools to move through the waves with more ease. We can't avoid the contrast, we can't avoid things not going the way our ego wants it to, but you can find the tools and new perspectives to actually bring more awareness and actually make the process smoother. So that's what I do. And when I work with people, I do it on an individual, personalized basis. So we work with wherever you're at, and we kind of go in the flow moment by moment. So where you're at in that moment that we're talking is what we deal with. And when I do speak with people, I share a lot of my experiences to show, I've been there too. I've been through this stuff. I know the changes. I know the suffering. I know the fears. I know the doubts. I was speaking to a client yesterday who said, I have a feeling, Tracy, at some point I'm going to get angry at you because you're telling me to trust and everything's going to be fine, and I'm thinking that you're deceiving me. But as I said to her, that's just in those moments of doubt, and she will be fine. But she's got to let go of the ego attached to it, and the expectation, and she realizes that. So I don't care if she gets angry at me because I know she's going to be fine, and on deep down level she does too. So again, it's like me, when you get out of those moments of alignment, you start to question things, and that's completely normal. So what I do is teach you how to recognize that and how to move through it, how to reframe and reprogram your mindset on so many different areas of your life where the limitations are. And I point these things out and I make them very clear of when you're doing it, and then how to move through it yourself. So I don't want people to stick with me and stay with me ongoing. I actually want people to be able to do this themselves. I'm just here as a support to give you that strength and confidence in yourself to get to where you need to be for your path and purpose. But in doing that as well, some of the deeper stuff there is also something that needs to be shifted on a more energetic basis, some of those blocks. So that's also something I'm able to do, obviously channeling the light language and just intuitively going in and helping move these layers. So depending on what the need is at the time, I actually use one or both methods. Generally I combine the two of some of the healing work with the energy and pulling layers out, and obviously then backing that up with the mindset shift, so you've got the tools to move through it yourself. And the aim is that you can just eventually do it on your own. Like I said, I want to see people rise and shine and grow. I don't want people dependent on me. I want people to have that confidence within themselves, that knowing within themselves of how to move through things. But again, I'm going to be a support until people are at that strength. So that's how I help people, but there's so many others out there as well. So if you're feeling that you're stuck in any area of your life, whether you go from the chakra perspective and there's blocks there, or whether it's just relationship issues, finance issues, or you're having anger issues, stress, all these things I am able to help with, but there's a lot of other people as well that can help you with it. So what I would say is find someone that you're aligned with and go with it, because you want to move forward. You need to move forward, and the longer you hold it back, when you know that you need to be contacting someone or working with someone, you're only making yourself suffer longer, and it's not necessary. So speak to whoever it is that you feel aligned to, get that confirmation feeling in your heart that that's the person for you, and then go with it, whatever the process is for you, because we're all on a different path, and we all need different people at different times in our life, and who you may need to have help you now may not in 6 months be the same person, because you shift. So you may need somebody else to bring in some new perspectives and new opportunities for you to grow. So I would encourage you to seek out those people. Well, not even seek out. If you know in your heart that you need it, you will be shown the person or the course or whatever it is that you need to work with. Just trust yourself enough to go with it. If you find, like many people do, they use finances as an issue. I can't afford this. However, what is it worth to you if you don't do it? Like, how much are you going to allow yourself to suffer? And one thing I teach people is abundance. If you're aligned with someone and you know you need to work with someone, and you're using finances as an excuse, for example, if you're supposed to work with that person, the funds will come. It's just teaching people and having people find the confidence to know it doesn't have to come from the normal sources, like your normal job income. It will turn up if you need it. Maybe people will, separate payments into like scheduled payments rather than a one-off hit. If you don't ask, you don't know. So I've actually had that with people. They haven't been sure where the funds are going to turn up from, and then the money will just turn up because they've committed to it they've allowed the funds to come in through another means. So somebody's gifted them some money, or they've got a refund from something they weren't expecting, and it's been enough to cover what they needed. So I teach, when you follow that alignment and alignment and follow the path and trust your intuition and guidance in your heart when it says you need to be with someone or do a particular project or course, the funds will turn up to support you, because it's part of what you need to do for your journey. Now, I can't tell you exactly what you need to do, or not everyone who's watching this, I can't tell you exactly who to go to. You have to work that out for yourself. But for me personally, I know who I align to. I will feel them before I work with them. But I always have the conversation with somebody first, people that contact me, just to make sure they know how I work and that they're comfortable with the way that I go with the flow, and everything's intuitive for me, because there are people that like more set structure, and then there's ones that trust enough in me to know that we'll get through what we need to, and they're the people I work with. So in saying that, if you do feel in alignment with me, you can contact me and we can have a chat and see if working with me is the right for you, and obviously a right match for me. And if it's an alignment, you get like 110% from my side, and support between sessions and stuff like that, because I only take on a few clients because I'm doing so much of this collective stuff and moving. So I work with who I'm told to work with, basically. And again, if it's not me, there's plenty of people out there. Just be open enough to see it and receive it. And don't put limitations on yourself if you can help it, because you're worth it. Your path is worth it. The expansion you're going to get from it, the joy, even though there's struggles through it as you go through change, the expansion and the heartfelt warmth and clarity that you get from having support from somebody, whether it's just one session or like ongoing, it's so beneficial to you and those around you. So when you do the work on yourself, you're actually impacting those directly within your life, like friends and family, and the greater collective, by lifting yourself and growing and expanding. So I encourage you to do that. I'm just going to move out of the sun a little bit. Yeah, so that's the response to the question that I had. Like, if you've got blocks in particular areas and you've tried everything you know how to try, or there's something else that you need support with, so just look for it and be open. If you do have a particular chakra block, there's plenty on the internet you can Google. Try them all. See what aligns, and if it doesn't work, seek someone out, or like I said, put it out there that you're open to receive help from somebody, and that person will kind of turn up in front of you. I think that's all I'm going to say today now, because I am feeling like I'm back in alignment. As you can see, I've got back into my space again. Feel like I need a shower because it's hot and sweaty here. And yeah, if you've got any messages, if you've got any feedback, just put it in the comments below. As you know, I do like the transmission Tuesdays with the light language, and they're posted every Tuesday, so you can subscribe so you can get those instantly. I put these random ones up every now and then as I'm guided to, and hopefully you've made it to this end of the video and it's been beneficial. I said I don't have the structure, I just follow, as you can see, because my eyes sometimes go as I'm getting information to share. And if you're interested in like some light language products, I have them at my Facebook shop as well, like Miss, which I channel into the light language song, sound, symbols, aromatherapy oils and all this stuff, which I've been guided to do. And part of those funds support my projects in Nepal, my volunteer work in Nepal, for the kids there. So I'd be grateful if you want to buy something or have a session, because all the part of the profits go to that. And there's some cheap light language downloads there as well that you can get, and there are specific topics that you may be experiencing, and you just play them on loop, and they're like less than $2.50 Australian. So, and like I said, they're on demand, so you just download it and it's there. So again, hope you got something from this, and this has been healing for me to be able to share this with you. Again, that's quite evident for those again who can see. Like, I know I've cleared out a lot. I'm happy again. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Maybe I'll share some other experiences from here. And yeah, if there is actually topics you want me to discuss, or if there's things you're experiencing that I've mentioned that you've connected with, you want me to talk about it a bit more, and how I've moved through it, just post it in the comments below and I'll get to it when I can. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.